女士们、先生们，大家上午好，欢迎出席国务院新闻办新闻发布会。今天进行经济数据例行发布，我们邀请到国家统计局新闻发言人、总经济师、国民经济综合统计司司长傅林辉先生。
And Ms. Wang Guanhua, Deputy Director General of the Department of Comprehensive Statistics. They will introduce us the economic performance of May 2026 and take your questions. Thank you, host. Media friends, good morning. According to previous practices, I will tell you about the national economic performance of May and then answer some questions. In May, the general performance quite steady. In May, under the strong leadership of the CPC Central Committee, with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, all regions and departments fully implemented the decisions and arrangements made by the CPC Central Committee and the State Council, pursued progress while ensuring stability, applied the new development philosophy, fostered a new pattern of development, implemented more proactive and effective macro policies, and addressed external shocks and challenges. Now, production and supply registered steady progress, employment and prices were generally stable, foreign trade demonstrated strong resilience, and new growth drivers witnessed robust development. The national economy maintained steady momentum with innovation-led and high-quality development. First, accelerated growth of industrial production, equipment and manufacturing, and high-tech manufacturing grew fast. In May, the total added value of industrial enterprises above the designated size grew by 4.5%. The month-on-month growth was 0.4%. In terms of sectors, the value added of mining up 2.3%, manufacturing up 4.4%, production and supply of electricity, heat power, gas, and water up 7.6%, value added of equipment manufacturing up 9.5%, high-tech manufacturing up 15.1%, 1.2% and 2.3 percentage points faster than that of the previous month, respectively. Added value of state-holding enterprises up 3.7%, shareholding enterprises up 5.2%, enterprises funded by foreign investors or investors from Hong Kong up 1.9%, private enterprises up 2.7%. The production of 3D printing devices, lithium batteries, and industrial robots grew by 54.4%, 40%, and 27.9% respectively. In the first 5 months, the manufacturing purchasing manager index stood at 50%. In the first 4 months, the total profits made by industrial enterprises were up by 18.2% year-on-year. 2. Service sector grew steadily and modern services showed good momentum of development. In May, the index of services production grew by 4.4%, 0.1 percentage points up than previous month. Information transmission software and information technology services, leasing and business services, finance and transport and storage and postal services grew by 11.3%, 10.97% and 4.8% respectively. Index of service production increased by 4.8%. First 4 months, business revenue of service enterprises up 6.4%. In May, the business activity index for services stood at 50.3%. Business activity expectation index of services was 55.4%. For industries like railway, transportation, telecom, communication, broadcast, television, and satellite transmission services and insurance, stayed within the high expansion rate of 55%. Third, market sales continued to grow and service retail showed good momentum of growth. Total retail sales of goods and services increased by 2.8%. Retail sales of services increased by 5.4%. That of goods up 1.2%. total retail sales of consumer goods reached about 20,000 billion yuan, up 1.4%. First 5 months, the online retail sales of goods and services reached about 8,000 billion yuan, up 5.9%. Online retail sales of goods reached about 5,000 billion yuan, up 5%. Online retail sales of services reached 3,000 billion yuan, up 7.6%. Total retail sales of consumer goods reached about 4,000 billion yuan, down by 0.6%. And retail sales of consumer goods in urban areas reached about 3.5 thousand billion yuan, down by 0.9%. Rural areas stood at around 500 billion yuan, up 1.5%. Retail sales of goods were about 3.6 thousand yuan, down by 0.7%. Income of catering was 460.5 billion yuan, up 0.6%. Sales of basic living goods and certain upgraded goods continue to increase. The retail sales of beverages, clothes, shoes, hats and textiles, and of cosmetics by enterprises above the designated size went up by 6.1%, 3.8%, and 2.5% respectively. Fourth, investment in infrastructure maintained growth, and increase of investment in intellectual property products accelerated. Investment in fixed assets reached about 17,000 billion yuan, and the investment in intellectual property products up 9.3%, 0.4 percentage points faster than the first 4 months. Investment in infrastructure grew by 0.6%. Manufacturing declined by 0.4%. And in real estate development, down by 16.2%. The total sales of newly built commercial buildings were about 3,000 billion yuan, down by 13.5%. By industry, the investment in the primary industry up by 5.9%, secondary industry up 0.1%, tertiary industry down 6.8%, private investment down by 7.1%, or down by 3.5% with investment in real estate development deducted. Investment in high-tech industries grew by 4.5%, of which investment in computer and office device manufacturing, aerospace vehicle and equipment manufacturing, and information services grew by 18.3%, 16.7%, 13.8% respectively. Fifth, imports and exports of goods grew fast, and trading structure continued to optimize. The total value of imports and exports was 4.5 thousand yuan, up by 16.9%. And the total value of exports was about 2.5 thousand yuan, up 13.8%. The total value of imports was 1.8 thousand billion yuan, up 21.5%. Total value of imports and exports of goods was about 20,000 billion yuan, up 15.3%. Total value of exports was about 12,000 billion yuan, up 11.8%. In the first 5 months, the import and exports of general trade up by 8.3%. And imports and exports with the Belt and Road partner countries up 13.6%. Imports and exports by private enterprises up 15.5%. Sixth, employment was generally stable, and urban surveyed unemployment rate went down. First 5 months, the urban surveyed unemployment rate averaged 5.2%. The surveyed unemployment rate of population with local household registration was 5.2%. Non-local household was 4.9%. Non-local agricultural household 4.9%. Urban surveyed unemployment rate in 31 major cities was 5.1%, 0.1 percentage points lower than the previous months. Seventh, consumer price grew mildly and producer prices of industrial products witnessed a widened year-on-year growth. In May, the CPI increased by 1.2%, same level as that of the previous month, or down by 0.1% month-on-month. Grouped by commodity categories, prices of food, tobacco, alcohol, and dining out down 0.9%, clothing up 1.4%, housing down 0.2%, articles and services for daily use up 1.8%, transportation and communication up 5.4%, education, culture and recreation up 1.3%, medical services and healthcare up 2.1%, other articles and services up 9.9%. Prices for good, tobacco, alcohol and dining out. The price for pork went down by 16.1%, fresh fruits down 2.2%, grain down 0.3%, fresh vegetables up 1.6%. Core CPI up by 1.1%. First 5 months, the CPI went up 1% year-on-year. In May, the producer prices of industrial products up 3.9%, expanded by 1.1 percentage points compared with that of the previous months. The purchasing prices for industrial producers up by 5.8%, or 1.3% up month-on-month. First 5 months, producer prices for industrial products and purchasing prices for industrial producers grew by 1% and 1.6% respectively. Generally speaking, in May, the national economy was generally stable with development resilience further demonstrated. However, the external environment is increasingly complex and volatile. The domestic imbalances between strong supply and weak demand is acute. The foundation for steady and upward economic growth still needs to be consolidated. We must follow the guidance of Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, continue to pursue progress while ensuring stability, further boost domestic demand, improve supply, and optimize the allocation of new resources while making the best use of existing ones. Provide greater support to keep employment, enterprise operations, markets, and expectations stable so as to promote higher quality economic growth while achieving an appropriate increase in economic output. Thank you. Now questions, please.
CCTV. How do you evaluate China's overall economic performance in May? What are the highlights and the areas undergoing pressure? Thank you. In May, we are faced with complex and challenging international environment and the continued spillover effects of the conflicts in the Middle East. Parts of the country have high temperature and rainy weather, exerting an impact on supply and demand, but all regions and departments have taken more proactive and effective micro-policies in the face of external challenges and domestic difficulties. We have ensured the steady growth of supply, fostered the emergence of new growth drivers, promoted employment and people's well-being. The national economy maintained overall stability and continued to enjoy high-quality and innovation-led development. It has the following features. First is steady growth of production. On agriculture, our summer crop is expecting a bumper harvest. On industry, innovation is playing a bigger role. Production is growing steadily. In May, above-scale industrial value-added grew by 4.5%, 0.4 percentage points faster than last month. Equipment manufacturing is playing a notable underpinning effect. It has become a driver behind the fast expansion of industrial production. In May, above-scale equipment manufacturing's value-added grew by 9.5%, contributing to close to 80% of the overall expansion of industries. On service sector, modern service sector, producer services are both enjoying a sound momentum, enabling faster growth of the service sector as a whole. In May, service production index grew by 4.4% month-on-month, year-on-year. 0.1 percentage points faster than last month. Leasing and business service production index grew by 10.9%, maintaining relative fast growth. Industrial expansion also has driven the growth of freight transport. In May, transportation, warehousing, and post-production index grew by 4.8%, 0.5 percentage points faster than last month. Second is new growth drivers. We pursued full integration of technological industrial innovation, digital and intelligent integration, and green transformation. The emerging sectors are burgeoning and bolstering high-quality economic development, as manifested in the sound growth momentum of high-end manufacturing. In May, high-end manufacturing's value added grew by 15.1%, 2.3 percentage points faster than last month. Emerging service sector are also booming. In May, information transmission software and IT services production index grew by 11.3%. Above-scale high-tech service, strategic emerging service businesses revenue maintained relative fast growth. Digital consumption is growing fast, with a sound momentum in online retail sales. In the first 5 months, online retail sales of goods and services grew by 5.9%. Third is resilient trade. The global trade environment is confronted with a headwind, but China's trade maintained relative fast growth. This reflects the strength of China's manufacturing and also the resilience and vitality of the Chinese economy. In May, China's total value of imports and exports of goods grew by 16.9%, 2.7% faster than last month. Export and import both maintained double-digit growth. The fast growth of trading goods of China have contributed to world trade growth and the stability of the global industrial chain. 4 is robust safeguards for people's well-being. Employment is the most fundamental aspect of people's well-being. Since the beginning of the year, we have stepped up efforts to stabilize employment. In May, the national surveyed urban unemployment rate was 5.1%, 0.1 percentage points lower than last month. For the workforce between 30 to 59 years old, and also for migrant workers with rural household registration, their surveyed unemployment rate dropped over last month. Price changes are also closely linked with people's lives. In the face of swings in the international energy market, China has stepped up supply of products related to people's everyday life. The CPI was overall stable, growing 1.2% over last month in May, basically the same pace with the previous month. The supply of agricultural products is abundant. In the first in May, the price of food dropped, and as part of the country is entering summer, the demand for electricity is climbing up. We have stepped up energy production. In May, above-scale industrial energy production grew by 4.2%, 1.6 percentage points faster than last month. The everyday and industrial power needs in key areas are met. It is also worth noting that the uncertainties and destabilizing factors on the external environment is still abundant. Some companies in China face difficulties in operation, and we still need to cement the foundation for sustained economic growth. Going forward, we'll fully implement the decisions of the CPC Central Committee and the State Council, step up macro-policy adjustment, expand domestic demand, improve supply, stabilize employment, business operation, market operation, and expectation, advance innovation-driven development, and deepen reform and opening up to further realize high-quality economic development. Thank you.
Fixed asset investment increase rate is fluctuating. Can you tell us about the new characteristics of investment structure? Yes, this is something of great concern to us. On the change of the rate, we have to see this objectively. Not only the total amount, but also the structure and the quality of investment. From January to May, the increase rate has seen an expanded decrease. There's influence from regional heat and rainfall. It is also showing the change of new and old growth momentum, and also the transition from expanded total amount to equality improvement, although the speed is slowing down. But under the continued policy support, increased innovation leading, and more safeguards on people's well-being, we can see that the structure is getting better. It is playing an irreplaceable role in strengthening foundation, promoting transition, and benefiting people's livelihood. It is shown first, investment in infrastructure is growing steadily. Infrastructure is an important safeguard to unimpeded flow of production factor, economic development, and serving people's lives. A number of infrastructure projects were going on very well this year. From January to May, the investment grew by 0.6% in infrastructure, and a comprehensive multi-dimensional transport system is being built. From January to May, investment in transport, mailing, and increased by 7.1%. Investment in railway transport, water transport, and pipeline transport increased by 5.1%, 23.3%, and 98.8% respectively. There's more infrastructure in a new generation of communication facilities. The investment in information transmission up 30.4% in May. Secondly, investment in new areas is seeing fast growth. As innovation-led is growing stronger, we have more needs in upgrading, and investment is increasing. It's not only expanded space for increased investment, but also injected fresh energy for fostering new industries and building new drivers. From January to May, the investment in equipment tools up by 9.3%. At the same time, investment in high-tech industry increased by 4.5%. We're seeing rapid growth in artificial intelligence. Investment was fast in this region, in this area. The investment in integrated circuit lithium battery increased by 11% and 24.9% respectively. A large-scale renewal policy also brought renovation and upgrading in enterprises, up by 9.3%. Third, there's more investment in people's livelihood. We have always upheld safeguarding people's livelihood in development, and also integration between investment in objects and the people. There's more input in infrastructure, ecological preservation. From January to May, investment in agriculture and fishery up 10.7% and 27.5% respectively. City upgrade and changing people's living environment investment going up steadily. In 2026, central fiscal support for city upgrade reached 970 billion yuan. In the next stage, we have large space for investment in promoting urban revitalization, new quality productive forces, and improvement of public services. These all need the support of investment and also having a strong foundation for high quality development. We need to stimulate the vitality of private investment to integrate investment in the objects and the people, and to play up the positive role of effective investment in high quality development. Next question, please.
Thank you for your question. For the first question about the transmission of PPI to CPI, this is a key focus. Now, despite expanded growth rate of PPI, CPI is in a stable operation and daily necessities maintain a stable prices. First, this is because PPI and CPI mean different things. There is a structural factor in the transmission. We know that PPI reviews the prices of industrial production, while CPI reviews the prices of daily consumption, covering all consumption categories, including both services and products. Therefore, the transmission is mainly on industrial consumer goods. The fresh food and the services, which account for a large proportion in CPI, is less affected by the price fluctuations of industrial products. Second, on transmission pattern, the prices of upstream industrial products is more directly affected by international commodity prices fluctuations. As upstream prices transmit to midstream processing, downstream products manufacturing, and then to the end consumer market. This process is subject to market competition and technological progress. The transmission is usually decreasing in effect. Third, China's economic operation is overly stable and we have a strong resilience in industrial supply chains. There are abundant products and services. There are effective policies to ensure supply and to stabilize prices. The price regulation mechanisms for refined oil products are implemented in a timely manner to effectively cushion the fluctuations of international energy prices. On your second question, the cost brought by rising, the pressure caused by rising costs on companies. This is a question worth our attention. Affected by different division of labor, of industrial chain, market demands, and industrial competition, the margins is different. Some mid to downstream companies face temporary cost pressure. Many companies take the initiative, such as expand their technology, expand market, upgrade technology to hedge against the pressure. And relevant authorities and departments have taken measures to implement these policies and help the large-scale equipment renewal. Nationally, despite some pressure on companies' operation with the rapid growth of industrial production and rebound of industrial products, the turnover and the margins of industrial companies have maintained steady growth, and resilience of industrial economy continues to evolve. For the first 4 months, the turnover of industrial companies above designated size is up by 5 to 5.2%, which is 0.2 percentage points faster than the first 3 months. And the overall interest is up by 18.2%, which is 2.7 percentage points faster. Thank you.
South China Morning Post. In May, the total retail sales of consumer goods was 2.8%. This is the first time it dropped since 3 years ago. What's your view on this? Thank you for your question. I think you are interested in the consumption of the Chinese market. The total retail sales of consumer goods is an important indicator. But in the current phase, we not only need to look at consumer in goods, but also consumer in services. I don't know if you have noticed, this is the first time we released figures for the total retail sales of consumer goods and services. In the first 5 months of the year, it grew by 2.8%. We need to look at the whole picture when assessing China's consumption, not only on goods, but also for services. Since the beginning of the year, the country has launched special initiatives to boost the consumption, to build new consumption scenarios, stimulate services consumption, and promote its upgrading. The overall scale continues to expand with many highlights. As I introduced, the total retail sales of consumer goods and services are growing steadily. In May, retail sales of goods dropped slightly. This is mainly because of the high base figure for the same period last year, because of the large-scale trading and renewal programs, and also the online retail sales for the shopping festival on June the 16th. Also, this is affected by the weather and rainy weather in some parts of the country. But overall, China's consumption market is overall stable with improved quality and continued upgrading. This trend remains unchanged. First is sound growth of consumer consumption of services. As the country enters a new development stage and enjoy more varied consumption scenarios, services consumption continue to unleash its potential, becoming an important driver of China's overall consumption growth. It has become an important indicator assessing China's consumption development. In the first 5 months, retail sales of services grew by 5.4%. This has outpaced the growth of retail sales of goods. This is in line with the laws governing economic development and also is demonstrative of China's upgrading in its consumption patterns. In developed countries, one can also observe such a trend as the consumers shifted their focus from consumption in goods to consumption in services. Tourism and traveling consumption are growing fast, driving the growth of transportation and mobility in the first 5 months. Tourism, information, retail services, transportation and mobility retail sales have maintained relative fast growth. Cultural events, sports events, and performances are also favored by the public. They are also driving the growth of consumption of services. In the first 5 months, culture, sports, and leisure retail sales grew by over 10%. During the May Day holiday, different parts of the country adopted incentives for consumption. And the supply of services popular among the public are also increasing. Cross-region traveling during the May Day holiday also grew by 3.5%. Performances consumption grew by 10%. Second is the new types of consumption continued to gain traction. There are new consumption demands and dynamics, and the countries have taken measures to unleash the potential of new types of consumption, including online, digital, and green consumption. Online consumption are booming. In the first 5 months, online retail sales of goods and services grew by 5.9%. Year-on-year, online retail sales of goods grew by 5%, outpacing the overall growth of retail sales of goods. Digital and green consumption also enjoying a sound momentum of growth. Digital services and products are enjoying fast growth. In the first 5 months, communications and information services grew by over 10%. Wearables and other smart devices retail sales also growing fast. Green consumption enjoys fast growth. In the first 5 months, above-scale enterprises retail sales of home appliances with medium to high energy efficiency grew by over 30%. In the past 2 months, the retail sales penetration rate of new energy vehicles exceeded 60%. New business formats and models continue to expand. In the first 5 months, above-scale warehouse clubs, unstaffed stores retail sales both grew by over 20%. Third is consumption of goods continue to upgrade. With new consumption notions, now people favor high-quality products. In the first 5 months, above-scale enterprises retail sales of cosmetics and communications equipment grew by 4.9% and 13.8% respectively, both registering relative fast growth. The upgrading was also reflected in the shopping for daily supplies. They focus more on experiences and quality, driving the growth of retail sales of goods. In the first 5 months, above-scale enterprises retail sales of food, clothes, and household goods grew by 8.4%, 7.2%, and 4.6% respectively, outpacing the overall growth rate of goods. Fourth is the rural markets are showing great potential for driving consumption. In the first 5 months, rural retail sales of consumer goods grew by 2.6%, 1.4 percentage points faster than that of the urban region. As the rural areas gain access to the internet and modern logistics, the prospect for the consumption market in the rural regions are promising. Overall, China's consumption market is overall stable with improved structure and new growth areas. People's consumption will and capability needs to be strengthened further, and sometimes the supply does not meet the need for high-quality products. We need to further advance the special initiative to boost consumption, enrich consumption scenarios, improve consumption environment to better unleash its potential and improve people's lives. Thank you.
Xinmu News. Looking at the data in the first few months, emerging industry maintained a rapid growth. What's the data-wise? What's new for industrial upgrading new driving forces and new products, and what's the role of new quality product forces? The rapid transformation of new and old driving forces is remarkable feature in current economic operation. This year, tangible progress has been made in industrial upgrading, digital empowerment, and the green transition. This not only underpins the economic growth, but also improves the quality, resilience, and sustainability of development. First, innovation outcomes continue to emerge. The innovation expenditure continues to empower high-quality development. Last year, the ratio of R&D spending to GDP for the first time surpasses the average level of OECD countries. Thanks to that, aerospace, AI, quantum computing, biomedicine continue to witness the new outcomes. Recently, Zhouzhang 4.0 quantum computing prototype has made a new record in optical quantum computing. The independently developed 600 kilo thrust class turbofan engine has made a maiden flight. This has provided technological support for innovation outcomes implementation. Meanwhile, it's faster for innovation outcomes to be put into use in reality. For the first 5 months, a total of 372,000 invention patents have been authorized, up by 12.1% year-on-year. Second, industrial upgrade is accelerated. Industrial structure has been transformed to a higher-end, smart and green direction. For the first 5 months, high-end manufacturing accounts for 60% of the total, and high-end manufacturing accounts for 40% of the total. There are planes and trains and also the daily necessities such as phones and cars and computers. They are all relevant to equipment manufacturing. They are the support of our hard power and also have been integrated in our daily life. Meanwhile, as digital economy deeply integrates with real economy, 5G plus, AI plus, industrial internet plus have witnessed new scenarios. AI big model, quantum technology, embodied AI has witnessed more Chinese companies. The industrial structure upgrade has also driven the coordinated development of information technology, modern finance, commercial services. In May this year, the production index of information transmission, software, leasing, and finance grew by 11.3%, 10.9%, and 7% year-on-year respectively. This has been a key software propping up the hardware of manufacturing. Third, emerging needs continue to be unleashed. High-end manufacturing, green energy, and smart manufacturing has been strengthened investment. For the first 5 months, electronic circuit, lithium-ion battery, and airplane manufacturing investment has increased by 50.9%, 24.9%, 19.7% year-on-year respectively. Now, availability is not just the only requirement. People also want good quality and experiences. New energy vehicles, energy conserving appliances, and smart products have been more and more popular. For the first 5 months, the retail growth rate for wearable devices nearly doubled. In foreign trade, many made-in-China products are well received. High-end and low and green carbon development has become a new name card for foreign trade. Fourth, development quality has improved. The quality is upgraded as the new and old driving forces are shifted in an orderly way. China's economy has been upgraded both in quality and quantity. For the first 5 months, the energy consumption per unit of value added of industrial enterprises above designated size is decreasing, which means the consumption per unit of output is also declining. This is due to our clean energy supply system. And also for the first 5 months, while automobile production declines, the value added of automobile manufacturing enterprises above designated sizes still has a positive growth. This reveals that higher value added models account for a higher proportion. In general, our driving forces transformation has made effect. But that said, this transformation is a long task and a systemic project which cannot be done overnight. There will be some pressure and pain. We need to know that we need to maintain the strategic focus and make sustained efforts and deepen reform and strengthen innovation so as to achieve higher quality and more sustainable development in economic transformation. Thank you.
Reuters, based on the May figure, how do you project China's economic development in Q2 and what are the main drivers? Thank you. Thank you for your question. There has been a lot of attention on China's economic growth in Q2. China enjoys a sound economic development in Q1 at about 5%. In Q2, due to complex international environment and structural pressure from within, parts of the economic indicators are growing at a slower pace. Some companies face difficulties in operation. But when we look at the overall trend, Chinese economy has maintained overall stability and has made progress while maintaining stability. Innovation-led development and improved structure remain the salient features. Looking ahead, despite many challenges and difficulties, the fundamental sustaining long-term economic development remains unchanged. New quality productive forces continue to gain strength. The dividends of reform and opening up continues to be unleashed. Micro policies deliver tangible results. All of this will continue to support the stable performance of the economy and its innovation-led high-quality development. First, the Chinese economy enjoys a sound foundation and strong resilience. China has a complete industrial system with strong supporting capabilities. It enjoys the advantage of a supersized economy and well-developed infrastructure. We are well positioned to cushion external impact and tackle domestic challenges. Since the beginning of the year, in the face of swings in the global energy market, the Chinese economy has withstood pressure and maintained overall stable growth, showing great resilience. In the first 5 months, above-scale industrial value added and service production index grew by 5.4% and 4.8% respectively, registering relative fast growth. The surveyed unemployment rate for urban areas averaged at 5.2%. CPI grew by 1% year on year, both of which are overall stable. Trade is also growing fast, with the total value of imports and exports of goods grew by 15.3%. The RMB exchange rate rose steadily. By the end of May, foreign reserve was at above $3.4 trillion. All of these figures show that Chinese economy has great resilience and vitality, and they in turn lay the solid foundation for the stable performance of the Chinese economy. Second is the emergence and growth of new growth drivers. Innovation, technological innovation fueled industrial innovation, and it helped to foster new quality productive forces. These increasingly provide solid support for China's high-quality development. By industry, digital industry, intelligent manufacturing enjoys sound growth momentum. In the first 5 months, digital products manufacturing's value added grew by 12%, notably faster than the overall growth of the industrial sectors. Artificial intelligence are growing fast. Memory chips and industrial robots output are growing significantly. Investment in emerging industries are growing. Sports, traveling, leisure, and digital products consumption are expanding, injecting strong impetus into economic growth. In the first 5 months, high-tech industrial investment grew by 4.5%. Tourism services, culture, sports, and recreation services retail sales maintained double-digit growth. Be it technological development, production, transportation, and logistics, or everyday traveling consumption of the people, innovation is everywhere, propelling the growth of the economy as a whole. Third is reform and opening up continues to deepen. We have made positive progress in building a unified national market with improved supply and rebounding prices. This has improved the bottom line of companies. In the first 4 months of the year, above-scale industrial companies' revenue profits grew by 18.2%. Institutional opening up continues to be deepened. The Inner Mongolia Free Trade Pilot area has put on the map another highland for promoting opening up. Visa-free policies are unlocking the potential of inbound trips. During the May Day holiday, visa-free entries to China grew by 14.7%. Going forward, we will continue to work to advance the building of a national unified market and break through the bottlenecks. We will take the initiative to open its door even wider and promote the flow of production factors between the domestic and international markets, all of which will be conducive to the sustained growth of the economy. Fourth is more effective micro policy. More proactive micro policy. The two priorities and upgrade and trade-in programs. The improve the quality and capabilities of the service industries and policies to ensure smooth industrial chains. All of these policies have been adopted and help to ensure stable economic performance. In the face of the spillover of the Middle East conflicts, we have ensured stable prices and supply and promoted livelihood and economic development. Recently, we have adopted a number of nation-level specialized policies. We are confident the rollout of these policies will create synergy and produce good effects. We have ample policy room, rich policy reserve, and flexible adjustment tools. We have every capability and condition to ensure stable performance of the economy. Overall, China's economy has a solid foundation, numerous strengths, great resilience, and potential. The stable economic performance is on a solid footing. We will step up micro policy and counter-cyclical and cross-cyclical adjustment, foster new growth drivers, and solid and advance high-quality development to improve people's well-being. Thank you.
Pai News. Amid global economic sluggish recovery and geopolitical risks, China's foreign trade still witnessed double-digit growth in May. The overseas market is very interested in its resilience. What's the new features for China's foreign trade, and what are the reasons behind? Thank you for your question. Amid sluggish global economic growth and turbulent geopolitical situation, China's foreign trade maintained a good momentum, propping up the stable economic operation. This also reveals a diverse market, optimized structure, new driving force, and strong resilience. First, on scale, import and export both witnessed rapid growth. According to customs statistics, in May, the import and export of goods it was up by 15.3% year-on-year, which is 0.4 percentage points faster than the first 4 months. The export in May is up by 13.8%. Import is up by 21.5%, which is faster than the export. And the import growth rate of the integrated circuit, iron ore, and mineral concentrates all got faster. Since May 1st, China implements zero tariff treatment for African countries having diplomatic relations with China, reducing cost for African products to Chinese market. In May, the import from Africa is increased by 15%, which is a growth for 9 months in a row. Second, on market, the diverse situation is consolidated. The resilience cannot be done without a diverse market. China actively deepens the practical cooperation with global economic and trade partners. For the first 5 months, China's imports and exports with EU, ASEAN, and Africa increased 10.3%, 16.6%, 18.8%, and our import and export with BRI partner countries increased by 13.6%. Third, on products, high-tech, high-value-added products have become a main force of export growth. In the first 5 months, mechanical products export grew by 18.4% year-on-year, accounting for over 60% of the total. Integrated circuit, computer components have registered impressive export. Meanwhile, lithium battery, wind power generators export have grown by 40%. Behind this stands a strong and advanced manufacturing capacity. Fourth, on companies, various market entities all witnessed growth. Private companies have the advantages of flexible operation market, diverse market landscape, and strong innovation capacity, and has for years become the biggest business entity in China. For the first 5 months, China's private companies import-export registered 1.8 trillion yuan, up by 15.5%, accounting for 57.1% of the total. The foreign invested companies import-export is up by 15.7%. For SOE, the number is 14%. This steady growth is attributed to the following. First, China has a solid industrial foundation, a full-fledged industrial chain. We can perfectly match up to the different production and consumption demand and effectively adapt to the global green and intelligent transformation. Second, this is due to China's daily efforts to expand high standard opening up and carry out economic and trade cooperation with the rest of the world. We pursue high quality Belt and Road cooperation, expanding the circle of friends. Meanwhile, it is also because the numerous foreign companies pursue innovation and resilience. We have policies to promote foreign trade, which continues to be felt. Going forward, there are still many uncertain and unpredictable factors, and the influence done by Middle East geopolitical conflict is still there. But the favorable conditions remain unchanged. The resilience, dynamics, and competitiveness is still our important foundation and advantages. We should be confident and respond to the external uncertainty with the certainty of our high-quality development. Thank you.
In May, PPI continues to grow. What is the reason behind the growth, and how do you see its impact in the future? In the first 5 months of year, China's PPI grew by 1%.
Which is 1.2 percentage points lower than last month. The month-on-month increase is positive for 8 months in a row. There are the following features. First, the industrial structure optimized effect continues to review. In May, demand for upgrading equipment continues to be felt, leading to the increase of ferrous metal and rolling processing. The computing demand is increasing, driving up the rising prices of non-ferrous metal, electronics, electrical machinery. In May, the prices for rolling processing, computer communications, and electronic equipment has all witnessed rapid growth month on month. Second, seasonal demand increase drives up prices in certain sectors. In May, the coal mining and washing prices was up by 3.2% month on month. This is mainly due to the increase in demand in non-power coal, in chemical and construction materials. Also, as temperature grows higher in May, there is a higher demand in air conditioning purchase demand, driving up the prices for air conditioner manufacturing and other cooling appliances, which is up by 0.9% and 0.3% respectively. Third, the imported impact of prices of international commodities is still there. In May, affected by the fluctuations of international crude oil, domestic oil prices turned from an increase to a decrease. The chemical and industry and chemical fiber month-on-month increase also declined. This is a main reason behind the drop in PPI's month-on-month growth rate. Meanwhile, the international crude oil price is still at a relatively high position. Its imported influence on petrochemical industrial chain still remains unchanged. Compared with May last year, oil gas extraction, oil petroleum processing, and other industries X factor prices still growing. We will continue to monitoring the imported impact going forward. Despite the international situation and the geopolitical tensions, we still have a strong energy supply capacity and diverse import channels. This will form a good foundation to resist external market volatility. Thank you.
China business news. In May, the PMI dropped slightly. The high-tech and equipment manufacturing are in expansion. How do you evaluate manufacturing's performance in May, and what's its prospect in the coming months? Thank you for your question. Manufacturing is an important part of China's real economy and is demonstrative of China's industrial competitiveness. Over the years, China has made progress in this sector. Since the beginning of the year, with our concerted efforts, the manufacturing enjoys a sound momentum of development. In May, the manufacturing industry continues to maintain steady growth, fueled by innovation-driven growth and improved structure. It has made contribution to industrial upgrade and overall economic growth. I think there are some features in its development. The first is the accelerated growth of production, especially in equipment manufacturing. As I mentioned in my opening remark, in May, above-scale manufacturing value added grew by 4.4 percentage points faster than last month. Equipment manufacturing is playing an underpinning role. Its growth rate is at 9.5%, 1.2 percentage points faster than last month. It contributed to, as I said before, close to 80% of the above-scale industrial growth. The structure continues to improve. High-end manufacturing is spearheading the structural improvements. The manufacturing industries are moving up the value chain. The value added of high-tech manufacturing in May grew by 15.1%, 2.3 percentage points faster than last month. Investment in high-end manufacturing continues to grow, building strength for its future development. In the first 5 months, high-tech manufacturing's investment grew by 3.4%. Third is new growth drivers, epitomized by new types of manufacturing digitalization is driving the growth of the production of digital products. In May, above-scale digital products manufacturing's value added grew by 13.9%, 1.9 percentage points faster than last month. AI's development is also driving the growth of manufacturing. In May, integrated circuit manufacturing, special electronic material manufacturing's value added grew by 87% and 29% respectively. Green and low-carbon transformation has also driven the growth of lithium-ion battery, bio-based chemical fiber, and carbon fiber and its composites output, which grew at 40%, 18.1%, and 13.4% respectively. Fourth is revenue and margins continue to improve, and corporate expectation is overall stable. The steady growth of production, rebounding prices have helped to increase manufacturers' revenue and profits. In the first 4 months of the year, manufacturers' revenue grew by 5.8%, its profits up by 20.4%. The profits of equipment manufacturing grew by 15.4%, that of high-tech manufacturing 44.8%. The improved margins has helped to stabilize the business expectation. The production index in May was 51.2%. The business activity expectation index was 53.9%, both registering expansion. Overall, the manufacturing's momentum is good in May, with improved structure and showing great vitality and resilience amid complex environment. We still face challenging external environment and the spillover effects of the Middle East conflicts exerting impact on global energy and energy supply and industrial chain, driving up the costs for Chinese businesses, and we still face with temporary difficulties posed by inadequate domestic demand. We'll continue to implement the decisions of the CPC Central Committee and the State Council, help companies ease their difficulties, and upgrade the manufacturing and cement its foundation for sound development. The last question.
This May, the CPI was up 1.2%, but there's decrease month on month. Can you analyze the change of CPI? What will be the trend for the next step? Thank you for your question. For the consumer price trends in May, we can see from the following perspectives. First, a moderate and steady increase in consumer price. This year, there is a moderate increase following Q4 of last year. From January to May, it was up 1%. Core CPI excluding food and energy was up 1.1%, down 0.1% than last month. So CPI and core CPI were both seeing steady and moderate growth. Month on month, May CPI was down 0.1%, influenced by the changing energy and service prices, influenced by international oil prices, oil and gas prices down 0.3%. After the Labor Day, the prices of transport rental and flight tickets is going down. Service price went down 0.1%. Secondly, the expansion of consumer demand is driving prices. In May, there's newly launched summer clothes. People want to buy new clothes. The price of clothes up 0.6%, 1.4% up year on year. Artificial intelligence development brought more upgrade in electronics. The price of mobile phones and laptops are on the increase month to month. Several upgrade consumer demand was unleashed. Prices of education, culture, entertainment, transport was up 5.4% and 1.3% respectively. Thirdly, livelihood goods, especially food prices, was stable with a slight decline. The food decline and continued small fluctuations with a steady decrease. In the first 5 months, the food prices was down 0.4%, fruits down 2.2%, cooking oil down 1.2%. Price of eggs, mutton, beef, vegetable saw slight increase. Fourth, the foundation for a stable prices did not change. CPI since the last year Q4 saw moderate recovery. There's uncertainty in the price trends of commodities, but we have ample supply for important livelihood products. The price monitoring and early warning and emergency control capabilities being strengthened. In the next stage, the consumer price is to see moderate increase. This is all for today's press conference. Goodbye.
Yeah.